Did the Buddha teach about the origin of the universe? Some people say he didn't, but actually Buddha explained the origin of the observable universe, but not the entire universe. That is the real Buddhist explanation, because if some people say that the Buddha didn't explain the origin of this universe, it is wrong. Because Buddha actually explained the process in this observable universe and the previous universes of this, say, the island universes. So the main, the earliest start is not Buddha's teaching, but because it happened uncountable time ago and far distant, maybe at a far distant location, so it is not explainable sometimes. So that is why the Buddha didn't explain it, but Buddha certainly explained the process in this universe, the process of the mind and matter, and also the recreation and the cyclic cosmology, the cyclic process of this universe. So the Buddha answered it very clearly. So we should know that before we ignoring, because the Buddha didn't want to emphasize those teachings, and therefore people usually ignore those teachings because they don't. The purpose of Buddhism is not about the origin of the universe. Therefore, people don't care. They just want the cure for the existence of and suffering of living beings. Therefore, we have to be clear that Buddha explained the origin of the observable universe. So, according to Buddhism, there was a cyclic start called Maha Kalpa, and the cyclic start and the end, which is called the duration of that period is called Mahakalpa, and the start of that cyclic period is starts from the Vivattai Asankhiya Kalpa, and the continuation of that process is called Vivattai Asankhiya Kalpa, and then the contraction period is the start of the contraction period is called Samvatta Sankhiya Kalpa, and the contraction, the further contraction or the contracted period is called Samvattastaya Sankhiya Kalpa. So the Buddha explained the entire process of this universe, and I'm going to explain my personal about my personal research about the origin of the entire universe and the origin of matter. And it is a very simple explanation, but there are complex calculations. We can call it like simplex, because it is not hard. It is not hard to understand. It is just too many numbers like that. This is my research, and I have shown that there is a fundamental structure in these structures. There are fundamental structures in this universe, and those structures are compatible with the explanations in Abhidhamma, the higher realities. Abhidhamma is called higher realities or higher science in Buddhism, which is about which explains about mind and matter. This is and there are, according to those teachings, there are 31 planes of existence, and therefore the universe is sometimes is not visible to everyone. The entire universe is not visible to everyone because it depends on the observer, and actually there is a fundamental constant called the Planck constant. It is the most fundamental and smallest constant. It's like potential energy packet. So it is the fundamental constant we can observe, usually currently discovered, we have discovered experimentally, I mean theoretically, that constant is is related to our, most likely that constant, the Planck constant, is related to our observable worlds or our observable universe. But there are hidden matter and hidden constants like that. I would say there are 32 or around 31 or 32 Planck constants, because according to Buddhism there are 31 planes of existence, but according to my mathematical calculations there are around 32 Planck constants. So I mean, not the Planck, but something like some constants like that. Maybe maybe it is different from the Planck constants, our Planck constant, but they also are some constants like that. And so yeah, the Buddha's explanation is also compatible with modern science, because there is a many world interpretation in quantum physics. So it is somewhat imaginable, because also the Sean Carroll explains about it according to quantum physics, and there is a collapse in the wave function, so there is a possible there are possible reasons to happen it. The one interpretation is the many world interpretation. According to Buddhism, there are hell worlds, human or animal worlds first, and there are Preta, Sura, then heaven, then Brahma worlds, and maybe the animal, according to the Buddha's teachings, the second plane of existence is animal plane of existence. Human realm is at the fifth plane of existence, above the Asura realm or below the 6-7 realms. So maybe we are not humans because maybe we are living in the, according to Buddhism, some living beings live in many different realms. Some humans live in closer to some heaven, realms in heaven. So maybe also the Buddha explained about 4 continents that humans live. Maybe we are living, the Jambudvipa is the birthplace of the Buddha, and we are living in the plane of existence of an animal world, but animal plane of existence, but we are part of the human world, because the world is not only the plane of existence, it is about the mental qualities. So we have to accept that maybe we are not in a good realm, because the animal world is not a good realm, and there is another human realm. So that is why we have to be more careful, because we are not that much intelligent according to that logic, because if we are living in the animal world, it means we have very bad qualities like animals. So that's the problem. So we have to understand how to, the problem is sometimes we don't understand that we suffer, because according to Buddhism, the anger is suffering. Also the greed is suffering, something like suffering, because it sometimes gives us a pleasure, but it is actually ceasing the suffering, only the ceasing suffering. This ceasing suffering is like putting woods to cease the fire, but it actually doesn't cease the fire entirely. So there is a potential that to start the fire again, because the greed cannot be defeated by the pleasure. So we have to remove the fire from the body and the mind first. If you do that, we don't need to depend on the outside world. And that's the main thing here. And the Buddha's teaching is all about removing the bad actions and thoughts, the bad qualities, and developing the good qualities. there is the Buddha explained the process of the early, say, like some beings who came to this world, because according to Buddhism, the cyclic start of this sober universe is not the start of the living beings. Living beings had a long, and also had some, maybe they start with the material elements, something closer to the earliest universe. The beings did not, especially the mind. The mind is only a moment. It is not it's not what the entire thinking process that we call we have. According to our experience, we think we are thinking like a mind in detail, but the mind don't think in detail. Usually it only captures dot to dot, from pixel to pixel, and the mind is very fastly capturing it and making constructing a picture. Something like this. The mind is a very fast thing, and we cannot. It is the fastest element according to the Buddha's teachings, because it is smaller than the smallest matter form, according to Abhidhamma. And it can move from one place to another instantly, like quantum entanglement, like that. It is a very fast process. So it could start from the early time of the entireness. I don't know. It is not explained in Buddhism, but the living beings came from a higher realm to the lower realm, and that is how the universe, living beings came to this world. And that is my introduction about this first. Before I explain about this, my discovery in detail. So I'm going to explain more about my book, my research in detail from now. According to this binary mathematical physics theory, I can show that the equation can derive 32 units of dimensions, like energy, like smallest unit of energy, like the Planck constant. So it is. The theory derives 32 Planck constants. So it can make around 31 or 32 plane of existence, because maybe not all the constants are capable to make worlds, parallel worlds. According to Buddha's teachings, there are there are 31 planes of existence. So it is the Buddha's explanation about the cosmos and the nature of the universe. There are layers of realities. Also, we have experimentally, according to the theory of general relativity, there is the theory requires dark matter to explain gravity. So seemingly there are hidden matter and hidden planes of existence. So this is my explanation about that about the existence of this entire universe, not only the observable universe. The entire universe could start from a thing or with nothing in it. It means like a negative time, because it is not related to anything. Because if it is related to anything, it has a time. So it is like a negative time because it is not related to anything, and it is infinitely small and infinitely large because it is not relative, because it is not the time yet, but it's like a negative time. If there is something, even if there is nothing, therefore, because the something is not at a permanent location, that nothingness is not at a permanent location, therefore it must flow with time, the flow of that nothingness, because the time is absolute thing and it flows in, it must flow. The time is the creator or the continuation of this universe. Nothing else is continuing this universe. The time stops, the universe stops. The time is the main thing that could make the universe. This is my explanation about it, and this, according to that explanation, the point is can grow. The points of nothingness can relatively make mathematically make some relative structures, and that unstable and asymmetric structures could behave like the relative reality or the relative universe. This is the first point of the entire universe. It happened uncountable time ago. Many big bangs. Not the big bangs. So inflation, something like that, something like the earliest. But it is not an inflation because it could happen uniformly everywhere. Uniform expansion, not an acceleration or something. The acceleration of the observable universe is like a cyclic process in the island universes. So the first point is like base because it has it must have minimum six directions, and each direction could have plus and minus 0, because it is not even nothing, but it is like positive and negative emptiness. It's like trying to be something, like making something, but because the time flows, time does not make a constant nothingness. Time makes more nothingness, so the nothingness grows with time. So it should behave like points of positive and negative emptinesses relative to the 6 dimensions or the 6 directions of the universe, and can make many dimensions related to the points, and according to mathematical relationships, it can make a lot of dimensions inside the point, but minimum it can make 6 dimensions mathematically, but maybe sometimes it will make less dimensions, because it is only a mathematical requirement to make a relativeness, because only the relative structures is appearing. Not if it is not related, it would not appear. Even if there is a point of nothingness, it can exist separately if it does not interact with something else. Therefore, the first point could make more points, could become more points. Had to be more points because of the time. That more points would make a gap like +1 and -1. So the gap is it's like the separation of the nothingness with distance, and 2 forms of emptinesses, like distance, like emptinesses, 2 forms of emptiness. And also it could then have a mathematical interaction, because it is only the only thing it can universe, the nothingness, the 0 can, the only thing the universe can do is a calculation, because there is no other thing to do, because there is nothing. Only mathematics can exist between the relationships. Therefore, some calculations could happen, like the relationships could happen. If it becomes 2 points, 2 emptinesses, plus and minus emptinesses related to directions, and then it could become and then it should continue, and the continuation related to the earliest point could make more interactions. So this is a very simple thing, but you don't need to take this complex thing. It is a very simple thing, and you don't need to give a lot of definitions or a lot of structures to them, because the pure mathematics is enough sometimes to imagine its process. We don't need to imagine the structure of it to understand it, because it could become a complex structure, but we can make a simple mathematical structure to understand it simply. So this is a structure I made to understand it, and also the points could relate in many ways, but the minimum, the mathematically minimum, the you can say standard relationship would be like this. This would cause the order of the laws of the universe. There are laws of actions, laws of realities, laws of mind, a lot of laws that could emerge from these dimensional interactions, the most fundamental interactions. And there is a Buddhist explanation about the four great elements, but it is like there are many meanings for those elements. I mean, the smallest elements is also called four great elements, but sometimes we normally some other larger elements we mention larger elements with that name also. But according to Abhidhamma, the four smallest elements are called the four great elements, Set Mahabhuta. So then they can make eight. They can become eight pure elements, like pure four great elements with like another force, four forces, like great elements, like with a force, like anything. It's called gati, like force. So the mental phenomena, they could become all those matter and gati and mahabhuta. The matter and forces could become 28 or 24, something like that, derived material phenomena. Actually, we say there are 24 derived material forms with four great material forms. Also, some forms could not emerge like material forms, but they would exist fundamentally like reason for some actions, like mental actions, mental factors, causing the mental factors, but not appearing as material elements, but they can move material things, but they would work like mental factors. I would say there are 48 derived, according to my theory, there are 48 derived mental factors and maybe four great mental factors, something like that, maybe, I guess. So there are potential elements like that. I think according to Buddhism, there are four innumerable eons, great eons, within a great eon, four innumerable eons called four Asankhya Kalpas in the great eon, in the Mahakalpa, and there is a lifetime of the matter zone. The smallest matter zone is live for around 51 smallest moments. If we say it using the mind moments, there are 3 moments in a mind moment, and then there are 17 mind moments inside a smallest matter unit. It's like the Planck unit, small 17 times smaller than the Planck time, I guess, or the Planck 17. The mind moment is in time is smaller than the Planck time, according to this. Maybe I am not sure about that, but the mind, there are the Planck length is larger than the smallest mind moment. The Planck unit is not the smallest length because there are 17 sub moments inside a matter unit. Smallest unit. So I could derive this using this mathematical calculation, but I didn't do it intentionally. I did it when I was writing my first book. I didn't know about that either. I didn't know about the matter zones, but I could derive it. I derived it, and then I realized that I derived the matter zones mentioned and the Planck length. The matter shown in Buddhism and called Rupakalapa, and the Planck length. First, I didn't know about the Planck length. Then I could imagine that this calculation is making not only elementary particles or atoms or something. It is only making a Planck unit. So this is the most small universe because it is the most fundamental unit in the universe, and there are plenty of units like that. I can derive 32 Planck constants. I'm not sure how many Planck constant can make, but maybe only 32. So this is the calculation. You don't need to go in detail to study because this is just a simplification. Some things could happen instantly. I just made a lot of steps and a lot of simplifications, and the final result is like is like this. I mean, only a part of the final result is like this. This is like matter zone with some formations. There are qualities. These qualities exist inside the matter zone, but they could emerge from material elements, from matter bodies like particles. So the fundamental, there are material qualities in some different types of material qualities in the Planck unit. They emerged from that unit, and according to Buddhism, the Buddha explained that there are 28 qualities, material qualities, like maybe there are forces are causing the eye element, seeing and hearing are causing, like the forces. They are the fundamentally hearing and tasting, those things happen on forces. So according to Buddhism, I think like there are forces but there are forces in the elementary standard particle, standard elementary particles, but they are not the smallest. There are smallest fundamental forces, the material qualities in the matter zone. They could make those, they could emerge like larger material qualities, larger forces, using any zones, becoming using, because they become the smallest rupa kalapa, the smallest matter units become matter body, like elementary particles called rupa sharira in Abhidhamma. So rupa sharira is the are the particles like that. There, and there are qualities. Some they have individual qualities, but also the matter zones have different qualities. Like some matter zones have 8 qualities. Even if there are 28 matter elements inside them, they they emerge, or the output makes sometimes only 8 qualities or 9 qualities or 10 qualities. And most material objects have 8 qualities, only 8 qualities. There are 10 qualities in living beings, and the material units of living beings. There are 10 qualities because there are a lot of other entanglements or something like that. There are 10 units. So according to Buddhism, our body uses something deep, some deep structures, like our body is more fundamental than atoms and elementary particles, because our body uses 10 qualities of, because our body is capable to is making 10 qualities when it has a life. 10 qualities in matter when it has a life. If a dead body does not make those 10 qualities, only a living body makes. The living matter has 10 qualities, Planck units. Therefore, the mind is making some qualities. I mean, in matter. I mean, the mind is making some or increase some qualities, or adding some qualities to matter when the mind is inside a body. So it is the Buddhist explanation. It is called kammaja because the kamma is causing to arise the matter. I mean the change or something like change or arise matter. Kammaja rupa. Kammaja is it causes according to some force. Some force is making I element with like adding some qualities to some matter, something like that. And it's like polishing matter elements with some qualities. So there are expressions like that, and the mental stone is simply it can become for this calculation shows that it can become zones, different types of zones, because minimum it makes 2 zones because of 2 different types of interactions. It's like these 8 elements. We can say these 8 elements: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. Like the Shuddha Astaka, the pure 8 elements mentioned in Buddhism. Maybe it is like that. The 4 main, like 8 qualities, 8 main qualities with emerged from 4 great qualities. And they could become they're actually 4 this is also emerged quality, but there are qualities of the 4 great elements and also some other qualities, and these 8 could come inside something else, like adding to this one, like it is going to the brackets of each one here, and that is the first possibility. And the second possibility is this dimension of this point could interact with the 8 qualities by interacting directly from one by one. I mean, like going from this is like this these 2 dimensions going to this each of these locations. I mean, interacting with them separately, one by one, so they can come inside this because it makes a different structure, because this is a possibility. This is a possible structural way I am explaining. This is a possibility because these 8 could go inside another 2 dimensions, 2 points, 2 thicknesses, positive and negative. Also, these 2 could go inside these locations, becoming increasing the density or the width of the location, something like that. So it is the basic calculation because I was doing multiplications. So this is the next multiplication I had to do, but it is difficult to decide whether this thing comes inside this or this thing goes inside that. Therefore, we can do the both. Both give two different cells. So there are 2 possibilities. As the 2 possibilities, the entire this structure could go inside here, or these 2 could go inside each other point. So both make 16. Both calculation increase. Double the points and make 16 points with different sets of dimensions. So that is what I did. Then because I called it potential wave and appeared wave, because sometimes it can be a potential, or maybe both can happen. Both can exist potentially in 2 different locations, maybe, but maybe both cannot exist together. Both structures cannot appear together because that is mathematically it is like not possible. So maybe if it is possible, the both can appear together, but I like to say that maybe they would not appear together, and maybe there are 2 different structures, separated structures, 2 possibilities or something, potentiality, or 2 possible structures. But there's a very big difference here, because this one is with 2 dimensions, and individually they all get 2 dimensions, positive and negative. But this one is receiving a set +1, and they interact with 1 dimension just, and the other dimension the other one. So this is somewhat simpler than this one. This is somewhat complex, because this one is going there is an inside there are two things inside, and this is like a busy place, but this is not a busy place because somewhat only 1 plus 1 is here, and other set is here. You can easily interact with them. So maybe there are two different, two main difference between Planck constants, something like a busy Planck constant and a like soft Planck constant, or something like that. A tough one or something like that. So I would say sometimes in the human world and the heavenly worlds, maybe there is a difference like that. Maybe I'm not sure this one. What can make soft world and what can make like a tough hard world. Some worlds would like real, some look like real, some worlds would look like imaginary, something like dream worlds, because it depends on the observer, the structure, and the next interaction could. So there are two possibilities, two possible Planck constants, but there is another one is coming from here, and it could make two more Planck constants multiply again. So the first two Planck constants, I mean the emerging, it is not a Planck constant yet, it is the earliest state, could double again. Therefore it could become 4 potential Planck constants. So first of all, say this is it. This is the next interaction is this, and it could be 4, but this is showing something else. This is showing the nature of it. I mean, some waves can become can appear. Some Planck constants can appear. Some constants would not appear because I mean some possibilities can happen later because both possibilities are not possible at the same time. So when something there is a potential to appear, also there is a disappeared state of it, and also there can be an appeared state of it. So there are 3 possible states that a Planck constant can have: appeared state, potential state, and disappeared state. Perhaps there's something like that also. I have mentioned it here. And also the two main possibilities could become 4 possibilities when it interacts with the other one, the 2 points of dimensions. and that is why it could become four Planck zones in the next step. I mean, the four potential or the four emerging matter units, and then it does not stop from there, because the calculation is still not finished. Because there is another calculation. I mean, there is another multiplication to happen, and it could make the four units could become 8 units, and those not 8, 4 could become 8 or something. Let's see, 4 songs. Appeared, potential, disappeared. Oh, there are potentially the appearance, and disappearance is also could cause a rising extra Planck constants. So, I mean, sometimes not only the main dimensions could cause to appear Planck constants. Sometimes the time it appears could cause to appear another Planck constant when there is a potential to appear one while another Planck constant disappears. So there is a appeared potential, and there are 2 potential and one disappeared and one appeared. So there are 4 possibilities like that. So it's a little bit complex, but it's a potential. But I'm not saying that it's completely possible. I'm not saying that, but it's a potential. So those matter zones could be could become more matter zones. And I have shown how it happened, and at here some simply according to this one, the first interaction with this extra dimension, the plus and minus, extra dimensions could make 4 structures and then the other one could make 16. So it's multiplication from 4, 16, and the last one could make only 32 because there's a small mathematical there's an end the last point. The last point is not complete mathematical possibility because it is it was not a good output because this is the last multiplication. This not like other multiplications because it is there are no numbers, there are only zeros. So this is something that could become anything. So this thing could become 2 points. Maybe this thing could not become anything, or this thing could become only 1 point. Maybe so. Usually, this thing can become only 1 because it is not like 2 plus and negative points. Plus and minus dimensions isn't just a one side, like a one side, and it could be only one possibility or many possibilities. But I just I tried to make take it as 2 possibilities with plus and minus. But sometimes it could be only plus or minus because there is only 1 point and only maybe it is related to only related to 1 place because there are not 2 points here. There are not 2 emptinesses. There are only 1 single potential, mathematical potential. Therefore, it does not make 2. Usually, it would not take 2 dimensions, but there is a potential to become 2 dimensions because this is not even plus or minus. This is in the middle. So it is a very complex output of this calculation, but you can use it to derive at least 1 potential. So I used it to derive only 1 potential to make a more set of another set of Planck Constants. Yes, because each one makes extra such constants, and so that is how it worked. So I hope this explanation is enough to understand this theory, and there are more things to explain, I will explain about them later in detail, soon or later.